How's it going, everybody? It is the Jonin level fox, or the or the Kage level fox, or hang on, or Kubi Charmer, which is on my other channel. Let me change my name because that was an accident. Hang on. But yeah, how you guys doing on this Wednesday? I mean, I said Wednesday on this Friday. And it's in the title of my stream, Friday the 13th. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know it's a little bit late. I promised that I was going to do a live stream or whatever. Got caught up with some stuff. Family was kind of down here, and I was like, we are just chilling and stuff. And I was like, well, like I said, a promise is a promise, right? So pretty much, I got some things to talk about. I guess I'll read some of the stuff off of the title of my stream. We definitely got to talk about the Chaotix file. I feel like that's definitely something worth talking about. Metal Sonic versus Cell. That death battle, I haven't watched the death battle yet, and I don't even know the outcome. I think I know the outcome, but I'm gonna, watch it and find out for myself. Of course, today is Friday the 13th, and it's actually my brother's birthday. Come to, just wanted to randomly bring that up. I'm not gonna bring him on here as a guest right now or anything like that. But yeah, today is actually my brother's birthday. He turns 38 and all that, and my birthday is actually next week. Yep, that's right. Me and my brother, our birthdays are in the same vicinity of a week apart in the same month and everything. So yeah. So this is actually be my last stream, or well, if I decide to stream tomorrow, maybe by some whatever chance. But yeah, yeah, this will probably be one of my last streams as of 26 years old before I turn 27. So I'm still in my late 20s, guys. Man, I have the best time for everything. Hope I would be back soon since I got exams in 30 minutes. Oh, well, good luck on your exams, Ashes. It's nice to see you as always. Honestly, you got better timing than me because I should have started this a lot more earlier. But, well, not even should have, but it's more so like, stuff, I was saying with like my family and stuff, we were kind of like down here chilling. And I was like, that means I had to like do this a little bit later, which here we are. And then I was talking to some friends for a bit. It was pretty cool. But anyways, but it is what it is. We're gonna power on through it as usual. But yeah, yeah. So definitely got some things to talk about. Like I said, it's my brother's birthday. He turns 38. My day was all right. It was my day off. I got my hair rebraided. Watched Friday the 13th. Yeah, on Friday the 13th. It's kind of weird because like 2 months ago in January we just had a Friday the 13th, and now here we are 2 months later with another Friday the 13th. That I looked it up. That I think the next Friday the 13th we're getting is going to be like I swear if it's on August, that's going to be crazy. No, no, not August. I think it's November, isn't it? Yep, November is the next Friday the 13th. Because I was about to say August 13th because both my siblings, my brother and my sister, are both born on the 13th. Yeah, unlucky numbers, right? But my brother was born on March 13th. My sister was born on August 13th. So isn't that the irony? But anyways, but happy birthday to him and stuff. Like I said, I got my hair rebraided. Watched Friday the 13th Part 3, to be more precise. I'm not a huge horror movie fan, but and I haven't obviously watched a whole lot of horror movies, but in these recent years, I've been thinking, why not try out different things and stuff, and expand my horizons a little bit, I guess. So yeah, I watched Friday the 13th Part 3. I watched Part 2 2 months ago for the same reason because it was Friday the 13th or the day before because I had stuff to do on that Friday the 13th. But Friday the 12th, watched it at night. It was still kind of a little, oof, wow, a little scary. And I watched the first movie a few years ago. The very first Friday the 13th with like Jason Voorhees that I had watched was actually the reboot. I think they did back in like 2009. I once I had it on DVD that I bought from like the FYE store and stuff. I watched it. I was like, it's okay, I guess. And then I just returned it because I was doing this whole thing of like catch and release where I just like buy a movie for like, since it's not that much. And then I'll return it and probably get some money back or whatever, get store credit, that kind of thing. But those are the Friday the 13th that I've watched. Yep. If I had to say my favorite or the scariest one to me is probably the second movie and stuff. I was like, oh shit. And honestly, Jason looks a lot more scarier with the bag over his head than he does with the hockey mask. I'm just gonna like throw that out there. I mean, the hockey mask, of course, is iconic, but that bag over his head, I'm like, oh, he looks like a Klans member and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was wild. Friday the 13th is great, but I rewatch Wrong Turn a bit more often. Mostly the first one, since the later movies have watered down in terms of horror. I can imagine, because yeah, sometimes horror movies just divulge into like, oh, just gore porn. But yeah, yeah. So I watched the Friday the 13th as I was unbraiding my hair and then getting ready so I can get my hair rebraided and all that stuff. So yeah. I worked yesterday, of course. I kind of got into some trouble because usually at my job, I usually tend to like put on AirPods to try and listen to music or listen to whatever to try and tune things out or to like help myself focus a little bit better. And I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I get a little bit too addictive or too, caught up on my phone sometimes. And my manager was not having it, so she has officially banned the use of AirPods in general. Like she would only allow it during like at a certain time. So like if you're working from like 2 to like closing or something like that, then she'll allow it. But if it's like anything like before 2, um, she's definitely gonna say something about it. And I was doing it behind her back a little bit when she wasn't, working on the clock or whatever. But sometimes I think she takes her job a little bit too seriously because sometimes she might be on the cameras just to see what we're doing on work and all that. And I'm like, great, like really, but I don't know. But hopefully, she might bring AirPods back and stuff. And she's probably just doing this as a scare tactic or whatever. Um, so I guess instead of trying to meet with rebelliousness, I gotta at least try and kill her with kindness in a way. So maybe if I do some good deeds and stuff, which I have, uh, then maybe I'll probably be able to get us back AirPods and stuff. But that, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that was on me though. So, yep. Yep. And I see we got 3 people watching. How you guys doing today? Yep. I was watching a little bit of Mugen Lord's stream today after I got back from getting my hair braided and stuff, and his daughter was streaming together, so that was pretty nice seeing them. I didn't watch all of it yet, but I'll probably come back to that later. But yeah, that was pretty nice. Let's see. Oh yeah, and you're noticing the new profile pic and stuff. Yes, I made myself a new profile pic because I kind of got a little bit tired of reusing the old one and stuff. I'll probably put up a poll. I wanted to put this up earlier before I did the stream, but here we are. But yeah, I made myself a new profile pic and stuff. It looks pretty cool, in my personal opinion. But tell me what you guys think about it. You can probably tell me right here in the stream and stuff what you guys think about a new profile pic. But yeah, it looks pretty spiffy. I know it's kind of easy just to pull up like a picture of like an anime or a video game character online and stuff like that. But personally, myself as like an artist, I gotta be like, well, sometimes you gotta be a little creative and you gotta like, sometimes have your own personalized avatar and all that. So that's how I went about it. So yeah, to be fair, most horror franchises have had a better faithful than Resident Evil movies, where only the 2 first movies are more in line with the games. Yeah, they kind of went off script after Resident Evil Apocalypse because after they went from like the first 2 movies, then they went to Extinction, which was supposed to be like, well, what happened to Code Veronica or Resident Evil 4? Instead, they're like, well, what if Raccoon City wasn't nuked, and then the zombie virus, the T virus, has spread and like affected other people and stuff like that across the world, and now it's dystopian and all. It kind of became like that. So yeah, those movies were definitely something. All right. Um, what else can I talk about? So yeah, I talked about my new profile pic. Um, New comics came out today, at least ones that I'm getting, or not today, but a couple of days ago, Wednesday, which I had mistakenly said it was Wednesday today, which is not, obviously. But yeah, I got the new issues of TMNT and Sonic. The new issue of TMNT, Master Splinter is going on a tirade, trying to kill anyone that presents a threat, like a potential possible future threat to his sons and to the turtles and all that stuff. So that was interesting. Um, so he's going around as this character called Umijumi or whatever, I can't remember right now. And he tried to kill Casey Jones, and Casey's kind of having this whole breakdown thing that if Master Splinter can come back, then maybe his mom, who like I believe she died of cancer and stuff, can probably come back too and whatnot. Which is that's a pretty interesting dilemma. But yeah, and then the Turtles have fought Master Splinter and stuff, which kind of felt more like a sparring match than anything. But it was nice to see that. But then Splinter kind of hit them with this hypnosis stone kind of thing, and like put them in this like perfect kind of like an infinite Tsukiyomi kind of thing where they were like dreaming the perfect dream until Michelangelo snapped out of it and then woke everybody else up from their dreams so that they can go check out Master Splinter, and then Master Splinter gets captured by Karai and all that, and Shinigami. Imagine Claire. I mean, I said Claire. Imagine Leon and Chris just fought an army of Alice. They would have lost their minds from how much Anderson had pushed him back in favor of his waifu. Yes, yes, yeah. He definitely did push Alice way too much because I think he might have him and the actress that plays as Alice. They had a thing or whatever. I don't know. They might have been previously married or something like that. I think, but man, yeah, he was pushing Alice hard for like an OC character for that movie and stuff. I mean, some people complain about Chris Thorndike sometimes. I'm like, Chris isn't even all that bad, or he doesn't like steal from Sonic like that. He's just kind of like he's there to kind of like learn and observe or whatever. Whereas Alice, I'm like, damn, this she got powers and shit, or whatever, and she's doing all this stuff compared to the other Resident Evil characters and all that. I don't know, but yeah. But anyways, let's see. So yeah, so that's an interesting issue of TMNT and stuff. It wasn't like too long, so yeah. And then what else? Then yeah, the new Sonic comic came out where finally we're past the point of Sonic Frontiers now a little bit, where Sage is teaming up with Sonic and Bell. So we get this interesting dynamic between Sage and Bell and stuff because they're sisters and stuff. They're both created by Dr. Eggman, so obviously that makes them sisters. Bell is a little bit older because Sage was created kind of recently um, in the IDW comics, because of Sonic Frontiers. So yeah, they're both kind of butting heads and stuff. Where Sage is like the perfect daughter for Dr. Eggman and stuff. Where he loves her unconditionally, like his own child compared to his other creations. Whereas Bell is kind of like like kind of think of Bell like the embodiment of the good of what Dr. Eggman could do when he was like Mr. Tinkerer and everything. But since he had lost that personality and stuff, he's kind of gone back to like his typical shenanigans of being Dr. Eggman and everything. And Bell um, is kind of like, oh, well, now I'm sort of just I'm like I feel abandoned by my own dad, or I feel like an orphan or something. Chris didn't steal Sonic's friends from Sonic. He stole Sonic from them since Sonic was mostly just sleeping off screen in the majority of anime. I mean, he was mostly chilling, but when he showed up to save the day, he showed up and stuff, and that was mostly like season one for the most part. Because Sonic's a very nonchalant kind of character. But yeah, yeah. But anyways, but back to the comic though. So yeah, with the whole that whole situation, so Bell and Sage are trying to work together and all that. Sonic gets caught up in some kind of illusion. I really think that they're strongly hinting that Dr. Starlight is finally coming back. I really hope Dr. Starlight is coming back because I'm like, so who goes out of the way to build some kind of device to like capture Metal Sonic and stuff? Because Dr. Starlight really has it out for Metal Sonic. He's very jealous of him. He's like, man, I can't stand Metal Sonic. I can't stand how Dr. Eggman, you know, how Dr. Eggman likes this robot so much, or how this robot was able to get Dr. Eggman's memories back and all this stuff. Like, man, even like in his log entries and stuff, Dr. Starlight just be talking all this mad shit about how much he hates Metal Sonic. So I think he might have been the one that captured Metal Sonic and then like somehow brainwashed him into attacking Sonic, Bell and Sage or whatever. And now Metal Sonic has like captured Sage, so that's kind of happening right now. And Sonic and Bell are they have to save her. So yeah, yeah. So I can't wait to see where this goes. I bet Sega won't do anything with Infinite despite the KIX podcast. Overclock mod is the best Infinite was done so far. I might have to check. Well, I know I always say I might have to check it out, but I might have to check it out because I don't know what they would have done differently. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely get to the Infinite stuff. Don't get me wrong. I would definitely get to that. I obviously have my opinions reserved on that one too. But yeah, um, but yeah, all right, now that I got the prerequisite, the prologue and all that stuff out of the way, with all the little talk, I'm going to talk about some of these videos. Oh, great. Nerd Culture had uploaded a new video, or he streamed 4 minutes ago, or video, whatever the fuck. I'll check it out later after the stream, though. Something about Jody's Corner. Oh, God. Does he have to have me again? Like, go to, like Jody's paywall just to, like, oh man, that'd be hilarious. But I hope he didn't, so I won't have to do that right now. But anyways, let me get back to this. What was about to type up? And chaotic files and the death battle. All right. First, I'm going to react to John Delarose and stuff because your boy was talking a lot of stuff about One Piece and stuff. So I kind of wanted to just check his video out, or at least, well, I already seen it, but I'm going to like pull it up, want to talk about it. I'll give my takes and all that stuff, and probably say it's trash or whatever, and then I'll move on to like what I really wanted to talk about in the stream, or kind of react to, or we'll discuss. All right, so let's get right into it. So apparently, something about One Piece being mega woke, apparently, and here's the reasons why. And honestly, that sounded like some stuff that Ranting for Vengeance and stuff was going on about, which I feel like, I mean, look, when it comes to the culture war and stuff, and I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I become subject to like the whole culture war. Not right now, currently, but in the past, like in the past and stuff, I've kind of been all on this whole anti woke tirade where I've kind of made it a little bit of my personality too. Where I kind of bash things that are woke, complain about things and stuff like that. And sometimes I try not to really complain because I kind of see like complaining is really for girls for the most part. And if you want to make a change, you got to change it yourself, or like make an active change. You got to you know that's just how I personally feel. So, anyways, but let's hear what John Delarose has to say about One Piece. Because and One Piece isn't my favorite anime, but it's up there. It's one of my, I guess you could say it's at least in my top 10, if not maybe 15. There's a lot of animes out there that I watch, and I'm just like, man, it's kind of hard to decide, or I shuffle around too much, like what's like which is which. The word files already gives me PTSD, not because of Mr. E, you know who, but people who milk this news. Oh, well, sorry if files give you PTSD, man. Um, well, the word at least. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but yeah, the Oh, I got this mute.
Entire season of One Piece season 2
And I can't hear it.
Netflix dropped the entire season of One Piece Season 2, all 8 episodes this morning onto their platform. Now, this show has been hailed by a lot of anti-woke people and woke people alike because it follows, I guess, the one.
And the thing is, too, yeah, people kind of do use some things like the Netflix One Piece or like the Stellar Blade or something like that. They like to use some of that stuff like, oh, see, look, it's not woke, guys, so go check it out, support it, and stuff like that. And I don't feel like that's always a good reason to want to support something. I mean, I just feel like, if you're going to support something, always make sure it's like from the heart or you're being a little bit, just be genuine about it. That's how I personally feel. And of course, I'm a One Piece fan. And so I've been a fan of like One Piece for like years. And I remember when not Four Kids, but actually when One Piece used to come on back on Toonami, back on Cartoon Network a long time ago. That's how I first learned about One Piece, and then it was kind of gone for a while, at least from my perspective, until I started reading those like Shonen Jump magazines. And I'm like, wait, One Piece is still going on? Like, and that's how I felt about Naruto too. I was like, wait, Naruto is still going on. One Piece is still going on. This is crazy. Like, I'm not against it. But I was like, oh, I'm surprised because they just vanished out of the blue, like out of the blue. It was crazy. But it's definitely good that One Piece is kind of getting some love and whatnot. But pretty much, anime has definitely been trying to do the whole live action stuff with some of their shows. I mean, they've done it in the past, even before like streaming services and stuff. But they've been like kind of, they did it with like Yu Yu Hakusho, which I still have not watched that live action Yu Yu Hakusho thing yet. It's kind of a different take on Yu Yu Hakusho a little bit, but who knows? It could be interesting. I heard it was kind of middling, where it wasn't as obviously it's never going to be as good as the original anime or the manga, but still. Or like Cowboy Bebop, definitely like that came out around the same time as this One Piece show. Cowboy Bebop was atrocious. I saw like a couple of episodes of it. I just never really finished because I was just like, all right, I'm tapped out because it was just so like it was such a bastardization of Cowboy Bebop. Like it wasn't even funny, man. But this live action One Piece, oh yeah, this definitely feels like One Piece, or it feels like um, yeah, definitely like the characters and stuff feel like the characters, the character interactions, it may not be the best looking thing in the world. It might feel like it's kind of like a little like a B kind of thing, but it's pretty good. I like yeah, and they actually respect like the creators. And I just saw a thing on Instagram right like yesterday where the actors and stuff from like the live action like Netflix One Piece, and then the voice actors from like the Japanese cast, they were all like together and stuff with a meetup, and they were doing that thing where like Luffy, Nami, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp like put their foot on the little barrel and talk about all their dreams and stuff, what they're going to accomplish once they get past like the grand line and stuff. But yeah, but I've been talking for a minute. Let me get back to John Delarose here.
One Piece story pretty well, and it is well done propaganda, that's for certain, but it is propaganda nonetheless, and it does need to be known that this propaganda is existing. So you got to remember with Netflix that it's owned by the Obamas. Everything in every piece of content has a piece of this agenda on it because their intention is to socially manipulate you through what you're consuming. That is very much what they've always intended to do. They've started this from the start. They're community organizers at heart who have radical backgrounds. If you've never read Saul Alinsky's Rules for the Radicals, you should, because it shows the game plan, and they're embedded in this media network. So it's obvious why Stranger Things went off the hook and went off the rails as it did. And One Piece has very much a lot of the same thing. Now, nobody's talking about this because, it's acceptable. It's popular. I was actually told by one influencer, this is a popular manga. It's the most popular anime in the world. Well, just because it's popular doesn't make something good. That's not a
I mean, that's not like he's not half wrong. I mean, yeah, sometimes something popular doesn't always mean that it's good, but I mean, it has to be popular for a good reason, or there has to be something to it that draws people in.
value. Popularity is not something that should necessarily be strived for. And that's, I guess, the difference between myself and a lot of other YouTubers out there, which is why you guys watch, and I appreciate that. But this is what Netflix is doing behind the scenes to add a lot of woke agenda into One Piece. And this is all the stuff that's been done so far on that level. Let's get into this news in just a moment. Please hit the like, subscribe button, and join us. I'm not just talking about
All right, moving on. I'm not gonna. Nope. That was his whole advertisement thing. Because John Delarose can definitely be a grifter, where he be talking about stuff that he don't even know nothing about, and then it's just all for the sake of promoting his books to be like, oh, but I'm not woke, guys. Support my stuff.
Very soon as well, so you won't want to miss that. All right, let's get into this news. So all of the woke representation in Netflix's...
And people used to accuse, like, Eric July of doing stuff like that. I mean, not really. Yeah, he used to do, like, the culture war and all that stuff back in the day, but Eric July rarely ever talks about, like, the culture war like that, and really focuses mostly on, like, his comics more so than not. But anyways, let's continue.
One Piece live action adaptation so far, I wrote this morning. Netflix's One Piece.
Okay, first off, with the whole Yamato thing, I'm honestly one of those sane people that actually is like, Yamato is obviously a girl and she's not trans or whatever, like that people try to say that she is. No, it's the fact that like Yamato is kind of crazy. Like Yamato, she believes that, like, yes, she kind of, oh, well, I identify as a man, but really it's more so like she thinks that she's this guy, Kazuki Odin, he used to be like kind of the ruler of Wano and stuff, and then he was kind of killed by Kaido. Kaido is Yamato's dad and stuff, but he was like Kaido killed him, and she kind of admired Kazuki Odin and stuff, and she tries to she really tries to impersonate him and stuff by taking on his name and acting like him and stuff like that, and even trying to claim that, oh, his children are my actual children and stuff when they're really not. But One Piece is a little bit, it's goofy like that though. But anyways, let me continue.
Is being hailed by the main...
But of course, you got people online that try to morph that into like, oh, well, she's not.
Stream as a triumph. Collider and IGN have both called the show near perfect, which should be a red flag to normal viewers. Here are all the woke elements that we know of that are in the show so far. First came in season 1, where the character of Kobe from the manga, who's somewhat effeminate male, who eventually levels up, is played by a real-life woman who pretends to be a man named Morgan Davies.
And just to put this out here about Kobe, there you go. All right, sorry about that, guys. I am back. All right, let me continue. Yeah, what was I saying about Kobe? Yeah, so Kobe is, he's a friend of Luffy's and stuff. But like, honestly, like when I was watching the live action One Piece and stuff, I didn't know that this actor was trans until like a couple of episodes in, a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, well, if this is supposed to be like, oh, well, this this actor is like playing like Kobe while he's like still young, but it seems like because I watched a couple of episodes of season 2, they're still utilizing this actor and like the character Kobe, when Kobe's not really like that. He's not, how do I put this? So Kobe's not really that like important to like the series, or he's not like really in One Piece in general like that a lot. Like he makes like occasional appearances here and there. But Kobe, I mean, but he's still a decent character though. He's meant to be like kind of a parallel to like how Luffy wants to become king of the pirates and stuff. Well, Kobe wants to be a great marine and stuff someday, and establish justice and law and order and all that stuff. That's kind of like, yeah. So him and Luffy are like kind of polar opposites, but also best friends in a way. Kind of like the relationship that Luffy's grandpa Garp and Gold Roger used to have. Let's continue.
Hailed in the media as a trans actor in a major role. On top of this, the media actually frames the protagonist Luffy as their made-up aromantic, asexual
Fluffy guys.
way of living, since no one can simply be chaste in the world of insane gender ideology. His character is really just a representation of just a kid-like joy, and he's kind of like a kid. And as you look at it, they try to churn that into some weird sexual gender thing because that's what they do with everything, and that's what they're pushing with this. Next, we have season 2.
They never acknowledged that in the show, but okay. At least as far as I've seen in season 2 so far, or the previous season, but you know.
There's a new race-swapped Princess Vivi, who's now being played by an Indian.
Again, shows that he don't watch One Piece. Princess Vivi. But yeah, that is kind of weird and stuff because Vivi is supposed to be like a fair-skinned woman. But like, if you don't know, like pretty much Vivi is the princess of Alabasta, which is like this Arabic kind of country and stuff. So that's kind of like, oh, well, their justification, I guess, for like the darker skinned complexion, I guess. But you know, I mean, like I said, I mean, sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, with the Netflix One Piece, sometimes they do kind of like, whenever they do have a character that does have like a slight kind of tan or some kind of like, you know, like for example, Nami's sister, Nojiko, they just made the actress black and stuff. So they were like, why not? So I was like, okay, I'm not against it though, but you know, let's continue.
Woman, Karithra Chandran. The show's female lead star, Emily Rudd, actually chimed in when fans criticized this choice to blast fans as racist, saying, "Perceived canon does not excuse blatant racism or hate of any kind. I'm beyond proud of our show, our cast, the opportunity we have to bring to life a story centered around a diverse found family." Now, those words should scare you immediately. Diverse found family, and it's centered around. So they're mask off. This is what the intention of the show is to do, is present the found family as real family. Your real family is not a real family, like everything else in TV these days. Found family is the dumbest theme, which is in every freaking show and every freaking everything these days. But that's another story. But doing it in a diverse manner is very intentional as well. This is what they're trying to do, is push the diversity, equity, and inclusivity through this storytelling here, through this very
not really. I don't get that feeling, but go on.
Popular piece that's popular in Japan and the like, so that people will then accept it here. And that's exactly what they're getting so far. Next, the original manga creator Oda is fine with the diversity casting as a progressive himself. He is a progressive, saying that all the casting has been perfect so far, lending credence to it and pretending like it isn't a typical Netflix abomination.
And a lot of people like it. It doesn't seem like it's a Netflix abomination.
Since this season will feature,
especially a lot of the fans,
Alabasta arc, which revolves
kind
around
of the
Princess
important
Vivi,
thing about
we
it.
can expect the storyline will also center around more representation. We'll see Netflix commentary on colonialism being added to the show as well, which is likely why the mainstream outlets are so gleeful about it. On top of this, several outlets are pointing to the manga and anime, stating there's a lot more LGBTQ characters that are going to be added. And there's
although Bon Clay is not gay though, he's just, you know, he's just feminine. You can still be feminine and be straight.
Elevating it, the idea of
Or
more of it
especially
heading
like
our way.
fashion.
This is what's coming in season 3. Which has already been greenlit. Netflix has cast an actor who goes by Cole Escola as Bon Clay, he's a mentally ill man who declares that he's non-binary. The media is already hailing the character. They're saying that it's going.
I don't remember Bon Clay ever claiming that, but okay.
Going to be reimagined as non-binary once it actually gets into the show as well. So you see what they're doing with literally everything right now. They've got multiple trans representation. They've got LGBTQ nonsense all littered throughout the show, and they've got. Of course, the whole race swapping thing going on in droves already. And this is just in season 2 that we've just started with. It's going to get even further. But if you look at the media and you look at all the news that's coming out of the One Piece right now, you can see exactly how happy they are with this too. One Piece creator already has planned to end Netflix live action series. Everyone wants to be a little bit like Luffy in One Piece. This is it. Unexpectedly introduces this major character. You see, they're all just like trying to just get in on the algorithm for One Piece right now, as everybody's starting to talk about it, and everybody's starting to talk about experience. This says Netflix, pushing it into theaters as well. Roger Ebert's got it. Sails into a grand line with swashbuckling season 2. One Piece season 2 review: fun, faithful, and fixing the modern TV issue. What a scream!
Also, what I do like about because like I said, I watched like 2 episodes so far. It's like 8 episodes. I think all of them are about an hour long, but pretty much in Yeah, I guess the wait was definitely worth it. If they took their time, and each episode is like, yeah, so like an hour long and stuff like that. Because I was thinking like in my head for some reason it's 30 minutes or whatever. I'm like, but it's an hour, and that's definitely at least enough to be like, all right, well, definitely need to like cover certain things and stuff that might take like episodes to kind of get to. But the first episode was like based off of like, and I actually do have this in my manga too, where Luffy and his crew they try to escape Captain Smoker and stuff, or or Luffy gets like he gets captured by Buggy the Clown and stuff, so they're able to like bring in or introduce like stuff like Sea Prism Stone, which they don't really introduce like the cuffs or the restraints for like Sea Prism for like devils like for Devil Fruit users until a little bit later. But Smoker has his little baton that is like, oh, this is Sea Prism for like Devil Fruit users and stuff to be effective against them or whatever. Or like, so that was interesting. Or hell, even Bartholomew and stuff. I did not know that guy was actually there and stuff. They actually mentioned that in the manga, but I did not know he was actually there when Luffy was trying to like when he was dealing with Buggy and Vita and stuff and Captain Smoker and all that. I did not know, and he heard Luffy's like speech or whatever about becoming the king of the pirates and how he just was like his unwavering like yeah like he had no fear of death or whatever and stuff like that, just accepted that and even laughed about it too. I see this video for, oh, what's happening, X Kid, welcome to the stream. But yeah, yeah, so I kind of like how they're able to like definitely put in moments, or even like the second episode they have what was that dude's name, um Laboon, the whale, and all that, and they were able to like put in Brooke and stuff. Even I'm like, okay. So I was, yeah, I was like, oh, there's Brooke.
Screen Rant say about a modern TV issue. This is pretty interesting right here because they're always pushing the modern agenda with everything.
So that definitely works for like definitely covering common ground when it comes to like One Piece and stuff, where all the stuff that Ericha Oda had added in later on and stuff, because sometimes stories aren't always linear. Sometimes you might want to add stuff later on. So with this show, they're able to actually like show, oh, okay, even though it's a different take, but they were able to like put in these moments and stuff, or like that Oda had already came up with. Even Sabo had a cameo in the second season and stuff where he was talking to Dragon and stuff. I was like, oh snap, Sabo.
Everything, right? So what did they fix out of this? The cast characters remain near perfect, as they say, as they look at this. And let's see, their scale is gigantic, often for better. One Piece remains one of the best TV shows. I don't know what they're fixing.
That looks great.
What are they fixing on this? They don't actually say. Good stuff. So that's what they have. They've got a 10 out of 10 here, and a Screen Rant 9 out of 10 as well. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. So you're knowing that like when these outlets are all this gleeful about something, that there's something to it that you need to actually pay attention to and at least watch. Now, there's no doubt, we're honest about everything here, that this is well done cinema. They have the directing, they have the look, feel like the manga and the anime, and they have this like sort of like serious yet quirky style to it that actually does fit within the world building and the like, that makes it feel really, really well done. They do stay within a lot of the stories, but that doesn't mean the agenda's not there. And this is where a lot of people get confused in modern culture and the like. When something's so obviously stupid and agenda driven and like looks like it's written by ChatGPT, people notice the agenda, right? And that's the propaganda piece, right? So Starfleet Academy, obvious propaganda. We can all talk about how we hate that. Now it's a disaster. When you have something like One Piece that's well done propaganda, people have a visceral reaction where they do the opposite.
There's no propaganda with One Piece or the Netflix live action show, just to throw that out there.
It's not woke, it's good. Well, just because it's well done doesn't mean it's not woke. It, in fact, is very woke. It's just well done woke. And that's the danger.
Dude hasn't even watched the show. Not even the Netflix version. He's saying, oh, well, it's still woke. How would you know? Besides a couple of articles yourself, But again, that's the extent of his research.
Type of propaganda out there. If you don't notice it and don't actually monitor it and don't pay attention to it and don't think about it. Because when you tune out and you get that, you start to slowly accept things. And that's exactly what they're counting on with Netflix doing all this all the time. So it is woke. It is well done. That is not a contradictory term. These are things that are happening. And this is the danger of well done propaganda, which is what we're experiencing right now. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to sign up for my newsletter. We are doing things a little different.
All right. That's the end of that. I just wanted to just talk about that for a second because I just thought it was dumb. But let's get to the main event. So first, I'm going to talk about the death battle between Metal Sonic and Perfect Cell. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet myself, so I don't know who actually won. My assumption is probably Perfect Cell, since I'm pretty sure if he had lost, then a lot of people would have probably lost their shits about Cell losing. So I'm pretty sure Metal Sonic probably won. I mean, he lost or something like that, like I predicted, but we'll find out. We'll find out. This does look really great, though, this animation.
Cell versus Metal Sonic.
Which copycat android is truly the superior model?
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
And like I said, I already gave you my predictions and how I think, because honestly, I feel like really Metal Sonic should win based off the fact alone that he was able to fight like Super Sonic, Super Tails, and Super Knuckles all at the same time and still give him difficulty, or that he considered his Metal Overlord form to be more powerful than even his Super form, which is a pretty big deal. Like, because he had the power of the Master Emerald and stuff to so I'm just saying, that's definitely a lot right there. But knowing Death Battle and stuff, they tend to nerf a lot of the Sonic characters and stuff and be like, oh, their super forms are barely planet level or star level at best. When I'm like, but they fight cosmic level threats all the time and do a lot of space-time, damage in a lot of these matchups, or dimensional type of, damage and all that stuff. And you're telling me that they're just planet level. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, and then they'll probably do some glazing with Dragon Ball Z and be like, oh, well, the Dragon Ball Z verse is a lot more bigger. So Cell says that he could probably destroy a solar system, but in fact, that just means that he could destroy, I don't know, a galaxy or a universe, and that, by that logic. And they'll probably just throw in Cell Max for good measure. But let's continue.
There's a monster stalking Gingertown. No one who's seen it has lived to tell the tale. All it left behind was their clothes. Something ate these people's insides, leaving only a shadow behind.
Some kind of creature driven only by the need to feed. Earth's new apex predator, the ultimate life form.
The Namekian Piccolo went to investigate this manslayer and discovered that it was intelligent. Its tail could unravel to absorb its hapless victims and add their energy to its wretched gestalt.
But the nightmare was only just beginning, because for its last trick, somehow this freak of nature knew the Kamehameha.
You really think hiring random freelancers is the
really
way to
looks
grow
like
your
one to have
social
right
media?
now.
Surprise.
The mystery of this creature's origin was decades in the making. Years ago, the world was terrorized by the most advanced paramilitary organization in history.
This dev will prioritize Dragon Ball primary canon, the manga and anime. Okay.
The Red Ribbon Army.
Until they got rocked by this little kung fu gremlin, Son Goku.
But Red Ribbon's dream of revenge lived on within their head scientist, Dr. Shiro.
Hiding away in his spooky cave laboratory, Shiro would go to work studying the Z fighters from afar, learning everything there was to know about them.
And building a series of androids that would destroy his spiky-haired nemesis once and for all.
He made a ton of them, infinite energy androids.
While superficially similar, Cell Max from Dragon Ball Superhero is a superhero. Okay. Because I swear to you, I promise you, I was like, I know they're going to probably include that somehow. Because they always like to throw in some random, additional kind of form or something like that. That's just my opinion sometimes with Death Battle, that they would do stuff like that. I mean, hey, it definitely does make the fight a little bit more entertaining, though. But, hey, I mean, there's probably a lot more surprises up ahead anyways.
Absorbing androids, trucker head androids, and even Ginger android.
However, none of Giro's creations were capable of matching that drive to improve that Goku and his fellow martial artists possessed.
Luckily, he had one more android left. A cute little booger so complex he'd take years after Giro's death to complete. Its name was Cell.
Born from a single cell, get it? This
Dr. Gero, 7 feet tall, bio android, Earthling, Saiyan, Namekian, Frieza clan, etc. Created to avenge the Red Ribbon Army. Extremely annoying to draw. I mean, it's not hard to draw Cell, in my personal opinion. I mean, but I don't know, maybe Akira Ziyama probably said that. Likes tournaments, Heptep, and Kermit the Frog.
android possessed the genetic information of all the greatest warriors that had battled on Earth, and, when fully evolved, would become unstoppable.
And with their DNA, Cell absorbed all their powers and techniques too.
Common among all of them is the power to manipulate Ki, or the energy that exists in all living things, and weaponize it to fire energy blasts, fly at faster than light speeds, move things with telekinesis, and create force fields.
From the humans, Krillin and Tien, Cell knows the multiform technique, Destructo Disc, and the Tri-Beam, his
Well, technically that's the Death Saucer, but just gonna throw that out there. That's Frieza's technique more so than well, I mean, yeah, I know because Frieza pretty much stole it from Krillin, but it's the Death Saucer. The purple Destructo Disc is always the Death Saucer.
extra special favorite. Oh, weird, I'm not seeing Chaozu on this list. Sorry, bud.
Is Chaozu human?
Oh.
Did Tien actually? I mean, did Cell actually copy the tribe? I don't know.
Okay. Cell can fire the Death Beam, as well as breathe in and travel through the vacuum of space with the
Just like I covered with Trunks, I was like, yeah, isn't it ironic that like Frieza killed Vegeta with the Death Beam, and then Cell does the exact same thing to Trunks? Like, man, what is it with Frieza's DNA or whatever? Always, attacking somebody from Vegeta's bloodline, or killing somebody from Vegeta's bloodline.
alien genes of Frieza and his father.
And because he's got Piccolo's DNA, Cell can regenerate humongous damage to his body at the cost of some Ki.
Cell has survived having half his body vaporized multiple times
That is
and cannot be destroyed unless the small cluster of cells at the core of his being is eradicated.
Should that little bugger survive, Cell will always return, even stronger than before because of the Saiyan DNA he got from Goku and Vegeta.
AKA a Zenkai boost.
Definitely the cream of the genetic crop.
Sure, he can perfectly replicate attacks like the
Key manipulation of flight, absorption, telekinesis, self-destruct, Saiyan power boost, Senkai boost, Namekian regeneration, the Kamehameha, or the Kamehameha. Let me stop. Instant transmission, Galick Gun, Big Bang attack, special beam cannon, Death Beam, solar flare, multi-form, technique, Tri-beam, the Death Saucer, not the Destructo Disc, and the Spirit Bomb. Yes, Cell can do the Genki Duma.
Galick Gun, Spirit Bomb, and of course Kamehameha, as well as teleport by locking onto a living being's key signature.
But the best part of being a Saiyan is how much crazy stronger they get every time they almost die.
They can even evolve to become orders of magnitude stronger in the midst of battle. Combine that with Cell's healing factor, and he's effectively the ultimate warrior.
Like a perpetual shonen motion machine.
Driven by a biological imperative, Cell wanted nothing more than to devour Giro's previous androids, 17 and 18, believing it would make him perfect.
Only one problem. The Cell we know was born in the future, and both 17 and 18 had been destroyed. So he murdered Trunks and went back in time. Not our Trunks, future Trunks. Well, not future Trunks, but another future Trunks. It's very complicated. There's like 5 timelines.
As Cell defeated and absorbed the androids, he evolved, not only getting stronger, but changing his personality and developing a lust for battle.
He became less creepy bug serial killer and more, well, Saiyan. After exploiting that very Saiyan arrogance and warrior's pride, Cell finally became perfect.
And easily dominated Trunks and Vegeta, the latter of whom had decades of battle experience under his belt.
Perfect Cell's power was off the charts. He could threaten the whole Earth just by powering up. With a full power Kamehameha, he was even capable of destroying our entire solar system.
While the vast majority of our solar system's mass is located in the sun, this still means that Cell's Ki wave would have to reach 2.8 billion miles to to eradicate every planet.
But Wiz, maybe he was just exaggerating.
Not likely. Cell's claim has been backed up in multiple guidebooks and even demonstrated outright in the video games.
Cell's even stronger in the anime adaptation, considering the time Frieza blew up Namek. In the anime, the explosion was literally hundreds of light years wide and lit up the friggin' galaxy.
And Cell was far stronger than Frieza was at that point in time.
Hell, the Namekians could sense him all the way from a different galaxy and thought he might be a threat to the whole universe.
He's also incredibly fast, capable of blitzing.
I ain't gonna lie though. Sometimes with statements like that, I think they just mean that if this thing gets loose, then he's gonna definitely be bad for the universe. Can destroy the solar system, tank Krillin's destructo disc. Yeah, I think Cell got hit with that thing in the back of his neck or whatever. It was like that ain't nothing. Survived a planet-sized final flash, regenerated from self-destruction. Compared to Supreme, Demon King, King Deborah. Defeated Piccolo, Vegeta, Trunks, and Goku. Briefly contended with the almighty Hercules. That's funny.
Even the strongest Z fighters at the time. Goku flew from Grand Kai's planet in heaven all the way to hell, hundreds of billions of light years in half a minute. And that was in his base form.
Yeah, that's cool, but how about the power to squeeze Mini Cell Juniors out of your butt? What? Never heard of that key technique? Call it the Kegel.
Perfect Cell was entirely without fear and, no longer wedded to Giro's petty grudge, decided.
Heaven is described as the size of the universe in the Daisenshu, and by characters in the anime, Goku did this shortly after dying, when he was still largely inferior to Cell.
To prove it with a tournament.
The Cell Games! And if Goku couldn't even beat him, what hope did anyone else have? Vegeta couldn't even handle a Cell Jr.
Their last hope was Goku's own son, Gohan.
Yeah, and that's why I said Gohan is the real main character of Dragon Ball Z, because, mainly Dragon Ball Z takes place from Gohan's perspective for the most part, and Cell was actually made to be the ultimate enemy for Gohan, not for Goku, not for Vegeta. No, he has all of their DNAs besides Gohan's. And Gohan, he has Goku, Piccolo, Vegeta, Frieza, King Cole, their DNA, right? So it would only make sense for Gohan, for him to finally surpass Goku, is to beat somebody that has the combination of all of Goku's powerful rivals and his greatest arch nemesis into one, So that's why I said Gohan's definitely the main character or he was definitely the main character in Dragon Ball Z for that. Let's go. Let's continue.
After Cell arrogantly let him power up, Gohan unleashed his rage, pushed the bug monster to his absolute limits, and beat him. Wow, Cell, you really are related to Vegeta, aren't you?
In truth, Cell was a victim of his own success. The same Saiyan genes that made him all-powerful also sowed the seeds of his defeat.
Scrub Daddy won't scratch your pants, and it won't smell for up to 12 weeks after first use. Now this, yeah!
Are you having trouble trying to keep up with your professor? You've got to try Otter. Here's how it works.
He got so mad he even blew himself up. Maybe he does have some Chaozu in him after all.
Even that wasn't enough to totally put him down, and he came back with the same Super Saiyan power-up that Gohan had just unlocked.
Super perfect Cell! Now with more lightning, in a battle for the ages, Cell put the entire weight of his biological programming against one lone Saiyan, and went the distance.
But in the end, it still wasn't enough. No matter how brilliantly Dr. Gero copied the Z-Fighters, he still couldn't quite figure out their knack for going beyond.
What can be destroyed can always be rebuilt. All it takes to recreate the most fearsome warrior in the universe is one single Cell.
Hey, real quick, did you know Death Metal launched our own tabletop gaming channel?
That's nice. Skipping to Metal Sonic.
Forest Critters. Time and again, the world and its cuddly forest critters were threatened by the evil and oval Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik.
And time and again, that same world and those same critters were saved by Sonic the Hedgehog. No matter how many robotic badniks the good doctor threw at his blue spiky nemesis.
This death battle will prioritize Sonic the Hedgehog primarily, the video games and IDW comics. Okay.
His schemes were always 6 spin jumps to the glowing weak spot away from getting cracked and scrambled.
But it wouldn't be over easy for Eggman. If he couldn't defeat the Blue Blur, he would make his own, Metal Sonic.
Well, 0 points on creativity for that name, but goddamn, he does look metal as hell.
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Although personally myself, I feel like Metal Sonic's design, while good, but it's kind of a little bit outdated. That we need to like modernize it a little bit. Like, I mean, you have the Sonic Prime design for what was it? Chaos Metal Sonic, and then you also have, of course, Neo Metal Sonic, which you could go with either of those designs, and people will be like, "Yes, this is a good modernized design for that character."
So Eggman built Metal with more than enough blast processing to match.
Because like Metal Sonic is like modeled after like classic Sonic, and since Sonic has kind of grown up since then, it's kind of like weird to be like, "Oh, well, he's still like hates Sonic. Yep, he really does. Just likes destroying Sonic and Breezy."
His prototype.
Metal can zoom around at massively hypersonic speeds,
I thought we were talking
fast
about
enough to fly to nearby.
I thought we were talking about only the video games at IDW. Why are we talking about Archie? I'm just playing.
Planets in seconds.
He's tougher than Eggman's standard equipment, some of which can survive black holes.
Metal can use all of Sonic's power-ups and even replicate his classic spin dash and light speed attack.
But he's got moves of his own.
He can attack with energy blasts, fire a chest laser, surround himself in an electric aura, or an impenetrable force field.
By overloading his circuitry with energy, Metal can activate V Maximum Overdrive, quadrupling his acceleration and obliterating anything in his path, at the risk of self-destructing.
You'd think all that'd be enough to turn the rodent into roadkill, but it only took one showdown on Stardust Speedway to send Metal to the scrap heap.
On paper, Metal should be able to outmatch Sonic in every way, and yet he doesn't. For some reason, Eggman wasn't able to capture that ineffable quality that makes Sonic the fastest thing alive. Metal's defeats at the hands of Sonic and his friends sharpened his AI into a seething hatred of his rival and a burning desire to prove himself superior.
Yeah, well, when you're getting your supersized red ass handed to you by Charmy B, you know something's gone horribly wrong.
Metal's defeats gave him an existential crisis. If he was created to surpass Sonic and couldn't even manage that, what was he? Why should he exist?
Never one to admit defeat, Eggman took Metal back to the drawing board and birthed him anew.
This Neo Metal Sonic was, above all, far smarter.
Especially after he copied Eggman's intelligence and took over his empire. And we mean literally copied. If Metal started as Sonic's copycat, why not hunt all of his furry friends down and copy them too?
Neo Metal Sonic is equipped with scanners in his optic receptors that can
Let's see, flight, spin dash, homing attack, chest laser, the V Maximum Overdrive, ring spark, field, black shield, copycat, chaos control, time stop, warping, teleportation, spatial distortion, power-ups, lost labyrinth treasure, hypergo and energy, dark rings, chaos emeralds, and the master emerald.
Copy a person's biodata, giving him the ability to recreate all of their abilities in seconds.
Like the Sonic Boom, Knuckles' Hammer Punch, Tails' magical swiveling asshole, and Big's ability to suck at fishing.
Metal isn't just learning their moves, he can replicate more.
Tails speculates in the IDW comics that Metal could have copied Blaze's pyrokinesis or the solar manipulation. His comments also infer that Metal can copy multiple traits at once.
Or esoteric powers like...
Yeah, he could. Yeah, that's why he copied in Sonic Heroes, he copied everybody's powers and abilities and stuff after, like, I think it was after the whole, what was it, the egg albatross. Yes, the egg albatross boss fight. Metal was saying, like, he copied everybody's life form DNA or whatever, life form data. And then later on, he copied Chaos's DNA because he had a child and Froggy, Big the Cat's frog and stuff. He copied their DNA and was able to replicate Chaos's powers on top of everybody else's powers and whatnot. So that's how powerful he was at the time.
Silver psychokinesis, manufacture Rouge's mechanical bat guards, or alter his very biology to copy Espio's chameleon invisibility. It's worth mentioning that biological data is a real scientific term and can refer to molecular structures like the genome sequence within a living organism's DNA.
Yeah, his copying is so busted, it doesn't really matter that he's a robot made of metal. If you can do it, so can he. Probably helps that he can shapeshift and regenerate his whole body from a puddle.
Likely by copying one of the mightiest beings on the planet, the god of destruction, Chaos.
Not the only chaos he's encountered.
By scanning the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog, he gained his ability to manipulate some of the most powerful artifacts in the universe.
You mean the Chaos Emeralds?
Yes, the emeralds contain an infinite wellspring of mystical power and life energy. With them, Metal can perform Shadow's chaos control. He can teleport, warp, and distort space, boost his speed, and stop time. And with either the Chaos Emeralds or Master Emerald, he can transform into
Metal Sonic Kai, Giga Metal Sonic, Neo Metal Sonic, Metal Overlord, Metal Overlord again, or I guess you mean Metal Madness and then Metal Overlord. Super Neo Metal Sonic, invulnerability, energy projection, and size.
Super Neo Metal Sonic.
Completely invulnerable and completely golden.
Side sleeper snorers are switching to this one simple fix. If you've been told that the only way to stop snoring is to sleep on your side, use nose strips, or strap on a
Super Neo Metal Sonic can move at faster than light speeds and has the power to move continents.
The emeralds are inconceivably powerful. They've been used to
Sonic Speed Simulator follows Sega's character lore guidelines and shows Metal can achieve a more stable super form with Chaos Emeralds in addition to using the Master Emeralds in the IDW comic.
fuel Eggman's Death Egg, which could obliterate star systems.
On their own, they can even create and destroy whole universes.
Other super characters like Sonic have battled and defeated beings like
Okay, so we're finally able to admit that the super states inside Sonic is universal level finally.
the Time Eater, who could destroy multiple dimensions and timelines in seconds. At their peak, 3 super hedgehogs have even fought Solaris, who nearly consumed Sonic's entire multiverse.
So Super Neo Metal Sonic should be just as powerful as any of them. Though he's gotta be quick, because all that power only lasts.
The Metal Sonic should outclass the younger classic Super Sonic, who also fought Time Eater and is capable of matching modern Super Sonic. Shadow and Silver, after copying their bio data, Super Neo Metal Sonic and modern Super Sonic have also fought evenly in Sonic Speed Simulator.
It's a short time.
The road to total domination was nearly at an end. After manipulating Sonic and friends and copying their abilities, Metal eventually combined their biodata with the mighty Egg Fleet and became Metal Overlord.
Complete with missiles, giant crystal projectiles, and the strength to match 3 supersonic heroes all by himself, Overlord is all-time final boss material.
And he knew it. His ego might as well have had its own health bar. Metal's drive to surpass
These feats. Got another comment by X-Kid. James Gunn, I heard rumor is to kick out DC movie be suck and mid. Yeah, I heard he's leaving. I guess, which is kind of dumb, like to kind of go back to Marvel or something like that. Honestly, to be honest with you, I think James Gunn, I know this is irrelevant from the Death Out, I'll get back to it in a second. I think James Gunn, honestly, I don't think he had confidence in DC in general and was like, well, I know, like, in case this doesn't work out, I'll make sure that I have a name or something to fall back on. That's why he went all heavy on like trying to advertise himself, putting himself in like the advertisement or the behind the scenes or making everything about him. Oh, I'm the genius behind this. Well, you're the genius that's about to get blackballed. I'll tell you that. But anyways, let me get back to the Death Battle. Let's see. Absurd control of the Eggman Empire. Well, really, it's the Egg Empire, but you know. Can keep up with Sonic the Hedgehog. Flew the little planet to Earth in seconds. I don't think the little planet is really that far away from Earth, to be honest. Harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald. Matched Eggman's genius level intellect. Battled Team Sonic, Team Rose, Team Dark, Team Chaotix all at once. Yes, he did. Defeated Sonic, Knuckles, Silver, and Shadow.
His rival had morphed into the delusional belief that he was the original and Sonic the loathsome copy.
A copy that Metal had finally outclassed. All the heroes Metal had gathered had to team up to take him down.
He may have stolen.
Sometimes Metal Sonic, sometimes his power levels be fluctuating because sometimes he gets beaten a little bit too easily. And then sometimes Metal Sonic just be turning into like a straight up Terminator and stuff where like he'd be like fighting everybody all at the same time. And it just takes so much like just to take this man out. Eggman states that the Chaos Emeralds roughly matched Metal Overlord in power, making him comparable to feats or machines powered by emeralds or other equivalents.
On their abilities, but Metal never possessed the thing that made the Sonic heroes successful: their friendship and teamwork.
Aw, how cute! Gag. Probably should have added some of those goddamn rails to the final boss fight, because it is impossible to land on those things. After getting trashed again, Eggman reprogrammed Metal to purge any bits of rebelliousness from his code.
Metal returned to being the Eggman Army's chief enforcer.
Kind of, well, I wouldn't say ruined him, but it's kind of like, well, that kind of limits him to just purely being subservient to Dr. Eggman, pretty much. But it makes sense for Eggman to do that, though.
Always proving
Stuff like that.
invaluable as the Bad Doctor's greatest creation, now completely obedient once again.
I don't know, Wiz. Who knows what's really going on behind those glowing red eyes? Maybe Metal is more cunning than he lets on, and is only biding his time until he can take over again.
Maybe the most powerful thing that Metal copied was the ability to lie.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, I'm Chad, the voice of Boomstick. And if you don't believe me,
It's been a while since I've seen. Well, I mean, I haven't seen Boomstick in Chad and Ben for a hot minute. But yeah, obviously, yeah, they look different for a reason. All right, let's get back to this.
Battle.gg.
Buttons are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
A mother stretches one plate across all 5 of her children. A father skips meal.
Salutations,
Definitely
Dr.
expected
Robotnik. Your reputation precedes you. Bring me your strongest fighter, or face... Then prepare to kneel before your master. Perfect.
Okay, look.
Tell me, does a machine like yourself ever experience fear? Not anymore!
Healed on. Oh, yeah, that's what I was just gonna throw that.
Fool, you're dealing with the ultimate life form. I already possess his data. Observe. Chaos! Done. True. Life form data successfully copied. Scum! It'll take more than that to kill me. Puppet!
Oh, he knows.
I know. Now I know everything about you, insect. Soon. Go. Don't you dare. The greatest warrior in the universe. I am all of them. If you are all of them, then so am I. I'll never lose to a machine like.
You get that'll actually give Metal Sonic the win.
I'll crush you.
Okay. I like it.
KO! So,
well, I guess I was wrong because I was like, I feel like Death Battle's going to definitely or include Cell Max and stuff to kind of make the fight a little bit more to kind of drag out the fight a little bit. But nope, they actually kept it between Perfect Cell and Neo Metal Sonic and the whole Metal Lord thing. That was pretty nice. I ain't gonna lie, that was a very cool fight. And I'm not just saying that because I'm happy a Sonic character beat a Dragon Ball Z character. But I was like, yeah, that was a pretty good fight. And I can't complain too much about the research, to be honest. But let's continue.
now Metal's got all the powers of the Chaos Emeralds and the Z Fighters? Well, that world's fucked. Our bad.
Cell may have been one of the greatest threats in Dragon Ball Z, but Eggman's greatest creation ultimately proved too much for him. Let's break this down into 4 categories: strength, speed, abilities, and adaptation.
First up, who was the strongest? Well, it's no surprise that any version of Cell was gonna be way more powerful than base Metal or Neo. Even just using the manga, blowing up a solar system is far beyond the level of power output Metal can match.
Without his stronger forms. With them, the power gap entirely.
I wouldn't really say it's impossible because, the Sonic characters have grown even in their base forms and stuff. They might not have the physical ability to be able to destroy. That's why to destroy a planet straight up. But we have this system called attack potency and destruction capability. Now I think attack potency and when you're doing the power scaling stuff, a lot of this stuff tends to get brought up. But attack potency is where you have imagine Frieza, right? Frieza, let's say he could destroy a planet or a star. Then that means that's his attack potency because he has techniques that allows him to be able to destroy a planet or a star. But let's say for example, who would be a pretty good example? Well, I'm gonna just keep it with the whole Sonic stuff. Let's say Sonic, right? Sonic doesn't have any techniques that can destroy a planet, but he has fought planet planet level beings and stuff like that before, and has been able to injure or or at least knock them out or defeat them like he did against Perfect Chaos or against against Dark Gaia, and when he was fighting him in the center of the earth before he went super and all that. So yeah, just to give you a general idea or feeling. So, but the Sonic characters definitely have grown in terms of the power and whatnot, and what they were able to do aside Well, let's continue.
Entirely reversed. Not only could Metal match Cell's solar system busting or scaling from Frieza, but he could surpass it with the universe-destroying power of the Emeralds.
But hang on, Wiz. Those Namekians said that Cell was strong enough to threaten a universe on his own.
They did, but they didn't specify how, and there's nothing suggesting he can destroy it in one go.
Yeah, like I said, sometimes there are statements, even in the anime, where it's well, it's a statement where this character will be a threat to the universe, as in oh, he's gonna come over here eventually, and because imagine Broly from the legendary Super Saiyan movie, he's definitely a threat to the universe, but he wasn't outright destroying the universe or universe is. He was just destroying planet to planet, stars and stars. So yeah, and eventually I think he destroyed an entire galaxy at one point before the movie had started. So yeah.
especially since it's only brought up theoretically and without any time frame.
Even being generous and assuming he could just blow it up.
Even scaling Cell to Toei, Broly would destroy the South Galaxy would still be less than threatening the entirety of the Sonic's multiverse.
Final bosses like Time Eater and Solaris can destroy the wider multiverse, and Super Neo Metal would scale to them. Metal Sonic
Let's put some respect on the Sonic universe.
takes the edge in strength.
And with Sonic characters being known for their speed, you might think that was an easy win for Metal.
At his max speed in his super form, he should be comparable to entities like the Time Eater, who in Shadow Generations can destroy entire universes in seconds. By using the radius of the observable universe, we can estimate the Time Eater's destructive wave traveled at about 180 quadrillion times faster than light.
Certainly impressive, but let's compare that to Goku's flight from heaven to hell shortly after the Cell games, which covered roughly a universe in distance at approximately 180 quadrillion times faster than light.
Hey, just like Time Eater. The difference, though, was that Goku was in his base form, way slower than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or Super Perfect Cell.
Factoring in Super Saiyan multipliers, Super Perfect Cell can move upwards of 100 times faster than that, and so 100 times faster than Metal
Maybe I might have spoken a little bit too soon, but okay.
Sonic. Somehow, Cell
But I still think Metal Sonic's faster though.
takes the edge in speed. You know, the thing Metal was designed for.
Wasn't expecting that.
When I decided to finish my RN to BSN, I transferred to University of Phoenix. They made the process simple, and since I didn't have to repeat work I'd already done, I earned my degree faster. Transfer your eligible credits and keep your momentum.
Where's the stigma with the meter?
Let's see if any of their abilities could tip the scales.
They shared many of the same powers, like telekinesis, force fields, and energy projectiles.
Metal Sonic had the advantage with Chaos Control, because Chaos Control is a lot more like a very complex technique. Or not even complex, but a very like just versatile technique, where not only does it like stop time, but it gives you like complete control over time and space itself. You can travel back in time, you can stop time, of course, you can warp through space and stuff. Like, remember when Shadow first fought Sonic and stuff, and like Shadow seemed like he was like faster than Sonic and everything, and Sonic was like, wait a second, that's not speed, he's warping and stuff. You know, it's kind of like, so like imagine like if you guys read DC comics and stuff, there's stuff like Zoom, right? Not Reverse Flash, but Zoom, where Hunter Zolomon, he's an enemy of Wally West, where like Hunter Zolomon has the ability to like, he's not a speedster per se, but he has this ability to like move through time because his powers are more so time related. So he's able to like kind of warp through space by like running or whatever. Then like, oh, it's just purely just super speed compared to like what the Flashes do. So that's what Shadow is capable of doing with Chaos Control, and that's what any other like Sonic character that has the ability to use Chaos Control can use it for.
Note though, Cell's regeneration was clearly superior, able to fully heal from a single cluster of microscopic cells.
On top of that, Cell's Saiyan genes would let him grow in power every time he almost died, and his Cell Juniors gave him the numbers advantage.
And considering Super Neo Metal had a time limit, Cell would have a big advantage in a battle of attrition.
But with Chaos Control, that became a lot tougher.
Cell and his juniors had no way to deal with Metal boosting his speed or stopping time.
To deal with Super Metal Sonic is more, or not Super Metal Sonic, the Super State having a time limit is really just a game mechanic. To be honest, because there have been some moments where it's been in like, you know, in Super State a lot more longer than just a minute.
That countered Cell's speed advantage and left him
To be fair, like sometimes Death Battle has actually like been like, oh well, the Super State can barely last a minute unless it's the stage. That's only a game mechanic.
And with Silver Psychokinesis, or the Emerald Spatial Distortion, Metal could seriously impair Cell's healing.
So it helped that Cell could fall back on his martial arts abilities in a pinch.
Despite effectively being a newborn, Cell's genetic instincts allowed him to best Earth's most skilled warriors back to back to back.
Metal may have copied Eggman's brains, but he definitely isn't as good of a fighter. The Sonic heroes haven't trained like the Z fighters, and Metal's been beaten by all of them a bunch of times.
Don't bet on that one. They don't train like crazy, but they definitely are some very skilled fighters, though. Just as good as the Z fighters. But anyways, and yeah, Metal Sonic has taken some L's to like, let's say, Surge and Kid. But to be fair though, like that's we're talking like that's a base class, like that's a base Metal Sonic right there. We're not talking like Neo Metal Sonic or Metal Overlord or anything. And usually it's been like, oh, surprise attacks, because Metal Sonic actually has shown that he's actually more stronger than Surge and Kit individually, and this isn't without any kind of like additional forms or anything. But yeah.
So all that.
Or if Surge had like a power up, like how she had that little what was it? It was like that little list thing, like a cage, dynamo cage or something like that she was able to use that allows her to steal the powers of this.
In mind, abilities is roughly a wash.
Which leaves us with the one thing they're both known for, their capability to evolve and become more powerful in response to their opponents, aka their adaptation.
And frankly, that's where this back and forth completely breaks. Because at the end of the day, Metal can copy Cell, but Cell can't absorb Metal.
Cell's ability to physically absorb an opponent is primarily via
the Daisenshi Plane Cell gains 17 and 18's infinite energy generators after absorbing them. However, not only does Cell tire against Goku, the Chaos Emeralds also grant Metal Sonic infinite energy within the Super State's Super Transmission's time limit. Yeah, that sums it up pretty much.
Against foes he can match or overpower.
Even if he took Metal by surprise, he can't absorb fully inorganic robots like Android 16.
Cell was only able to absorb Android 17 and 18 because they were primarily organic.
They're actually more like cyborgs and are only called...
Yeah, they're cyborgs. They're just, yeah. Really, they're supposed to be called Cyborg 17 and Cyborg 18, but they're just called androids because the trend of their android, the series of androids.
Androids in the English translation.
Metal, on the other hand, can copy a target's biodata through only a few seconds of direct eyesight, something he could easily accomplish during a time stop.
And using it on Cell means he wouldn't just get Cell's powers, but the powers of all of the Z-Warriors too.
Remember, Metal's copying applies to abilities that fundamentally affect his own biology, like Espio's invincibility or Chaos's liquid body. Nothing Cell has would be off limits, especially given all of Cell's powers were genetically encoded in the first place. Quite literally biodata.
Cell's Saiyan power-ups? Copied. Cell's regeneration? Copied. Cell's key techniques? Believe it or not, copied.
Chaos Emeralds are described as being able to produce life energy, similar to Ki.
Furthermore, the Earth's life energy restored the emeralds. And vice versa, in Sonic Unleashed, Chaos Energy can also manipulate souls, restore life, just like Ki.
So there's a precedent for him being able to replicate Cell's power set. And at this point, there's nothing stopping Metal from, say, stopping time and using a Kamehameha to vaporize him at a cellular level, just like Gohan did.
Cell might be able to do anything the Z-Fighter.
While Android 16, 17, 18 lack natural Ki, they imitated the artificial generators. Metal Sonic's generators are similar, utilizing orgone energy, another form of life energy, further reinforcing that Metal could reliably imitate Ki.
Fighters know how to do.
Yeah, that's also a thing too. Like one of the things back in the Android and the Cell saga was that like the thing about the androids is you can't really sense the android's Ki. I'm not sure if that's like changed or whatever. I mean, the androids like 17 and 18, I think they can sense Ki now. And Android 16, he can sense Ki as well because he was built for that. But originally they didn't have that ability. But the scary part is you can't sense the android's Ki either, so you can't tell when they're coming or what they'll do and stuff because Ki is meant for like living, even though the androids are technically living, but they're not living, you know what I'm saying?
But that's not gonna help him, because Metal can do anything Cell knows how to do. Strange, isn't it?
Cell just doesn't have any
I knew he was gonna
options to retaliate that Metal wouldn't also possess, including any of his previous advantages. Metal's copy ability is just that overpowered.
Oh, I guess now I get why they called it Sonic CD.
And why's that?
Cell died. Wiz, you get it?
That was cool.
CD? Wiz, where you go? Come on back. Next time on Death Battle.
Next.
Subscribe and join as a member to see more Death Battles. Thanks for watching.
Break free with the.
I hope my boy Bakugo pull through. Anyways, that's all I have to say here on that matter. Death battle. So, yeah, that was pretty nice. Should I really talk about the Chaotix files, or because I mean it's not a long live stream, but it is kind of late. All right, well I'll probably do a stream tomorrow then. In that case, talking about. Oh, hey, what's up, Dr. Hina? You just made it. I just got done watching a death battle between Perfect Cell and Metal Sonic. It was pretty nice and whatnot. I was thinking about talking about the Chaotix files, or like, while playing it, and then get my commentary over it. But I guess I could do that tomorrow since I'm not probably doing anything big. So I'm gonna probably just cut this live stream short and whatnot. So, but today is my brother's birthday, and it's a Friday and everything. Well, Friday the 13th, So hopefully nobody's not having any bad luck or whatever. I'm not having any bad luck, so I think I'm good. I guess I'll just take the Infinites back thing out and just save that for tomorrow's live stream then. But yeah, because I mean the Chaotix live stream is only like 23 minutes, and with my commentary, this is gonna be like I probably won't even be able to get to sleep until like 1 o'clock. So I'm gonna just cut it short. But anyways, thanks guys for showing up to the stream and everything. I really appreciate it. Ashes, Dr. Hino, X-Kid, anyone that didn't want to comment and stuff, I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is the Joe Little Fox, and I'm out. Peace, and happy Friday.